Eric's was an amazing experience really, but the club itself was sweaty and quite dirty and probably quite dangerous when they had it full of everybody in there, but it felt really, really exciting because you knew you were in something that was very, very exciting at that time, because the music was changing and there was a real explosion going on, so it felt really, really exciting.
I saw some fantastic bands there, The Clash obviously is the one that everyone always remembers, and I was lucky enough to cover the gig as a journalist, and that really got me some bad looks, because for all the big bands you would get literally a queue all the way down Matthew Street, all the way round, come right round again. Literally hundreds and hundreds of people, lots of them who obviously didn't have a chance of getting in would just be desperate to get there. And it's great to walk to the front of one of those queues and say, hey, press, and sort of like all these, you start a mini riot outside, I
always remember being in Eric's kind of getting ready to go, and the band were on stage, and Howard Devoto bound out the changing room, which of course in Eric's the changing room was literally a door on the side of the stage there. He come bounding out, leapt to the front of the stage and just cracked his head on this like kind of pillar that's up, and just kind of nearly knocked himself out. We all cheered, going, hey, all thought it was part of the show. Of course it wasn't, but what was great about it, he let back up and then straight into whatever was shot by both sides, whatever song it was at the time.
Me and my mates were just like, wow, wasn't that great? Go up to the bar at tea, and Joe Strum was standing at the bar and said, all right mate, want a pint? And he got me a pint, and he had these lapel things on his biker jacket that he gave to me, and I was like, oh, your big hero and star and all that stuff.
You just go over to the barman, Marky Smith, who then was just a, sort of, scally scrope from Manchester, and just do you want a pint? Oh, yeah. I thought it was great, the usual sycophantic nonsense that you come up with. And the nature of Eric's was that the pint was presented, and they used to get these horrible plastic glasses which sometimes weren't washed out properly, and I was floating it around in the bottom as a big gob. It was just the most disgusting thing you've ever seen in your life. So quietly didn't say anything to him, but you could get all sorts of horrible viruses and everything from Eric's, but no one seemed to care,
Another important thing about Eric's, which I really must say, which people forget, is that early on, reggae and dub and blues, I wouldn't know about reggae music if I had not been to Eric's. And going down to Eric's to the reggae nights, filled with that, the pumping sound of dub, and mixing with people I would never have the chance to mix with. Eric's jukebox had blues music on there. I'd never know about blues, but I must say that Eric's was also a home for reggae and for other the musical diversity in Liverpool.
I went in with a friend of mine who was a musician, a little bit older than me, and we were in the gents in Eric's, and I'm minding my own business, and I hear John say to this fella, all right, Declan. And I look along and think, it's a strange name, Declan. And there's this guy with big sort of Buddy Holly National Health glasses in a urinal a few feet away, and he goes, shh, my name's not Declan, it's Elvis. And I thought, who in God's name is this? And it was Elvis Costello.
We were a massively creative industry, and when we did have a record label, and we did have publishing, and we did have a magazine, and we had the venue. Didn't make any money. Boy, we had some great ideas and a lot of fun when we did it.